Welcome to Wisdom to Wealth. This is another episode where we are interviewing the wealthiest entrepreneurs and business owners in the world as they share their stories on how they went from zero to wealth. Today we have Louise Milleman with us today. She's going to share a powerful story on her journey. I'll introduce her in just a little bit. But who am I? I am Shamar Star Cox, TV producer and marketing coach. My goal is to help six-figure business owners and seven-figure business owners create binge-worthy content in order to attract your ideal customers and then be able to convert them from a follower to a customer on social media. We do that by teaching you Bible marketing secrets so that now when you're releasing your video content, you're creating deep connections with your audience and you are able to grow your following. If you want to learn how to create content that sells, feel free to DM or comment the word challenge accepted on Instagram, and I will personally send you an invite to our 5-day challenge, Convert Content to Cash, for business owners who is ready to take their business to the next level and scale from 10K months to 30K months. So today we have Louise Milleman with us. She is a powerhouse in the world of high ticket direct sales, known for mentoring entrepreneurs to achieve extraordinary results in record time, rising to the top 1% of her wellness company within just 4 years. Come on now, 4 years is good. Louise has built a thriving business that combines cutting-edge systems with personalized mentorship, empowering others to succeed in the online sales space. Her transition from traditional low-ticket marketing to doing high-ticket direct sales was fueled by a desire to achieve financial freedom while working smarter, not harder. Louise's innovative approach allows her mentees to generate high income from fewer, more impactful sales, creating a model that prioritizes efficiency and success. Louise, thank you so much for being with us. We're looking forward to the wisdom that you're going to be sharing on high ticket sales. Go ahead and say hi to us before we jump into the conversation.
Amazing. Hi. Thank you for having me. I'm like listening to you and I'm like, wow, that's a handful to get out.
As
But
I'm reading it, I'm like, you're a powerhouse. You're amazing.
thank you. Thank you. And thank you for having me on and reaching out to, yeah, just to have me on because I'm really excited. I love talking about business, and it's so fun to talk about business with other people who are passionate about business as well. So yeah, excited for our chat.
Me too. Okay, let's jump right in and tell us how did you start your journey? How did you go from low ticket sales into high ticket sales? How did you go from zero to really being top 1% was it in your region? I believe you said
In the company.
in the company. Come on now, top
World
1% in the company. Talk to us.
Yes. Okay. So and of course, like every entrepreneur, our journey is like a very long journey, right? It's like within the last 4 years that I've been a part of this company and this business, it's been, just 4 years, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't like 10 plus years in the making of all the things that happened leading up to this. And so our story really starts off with my husband, who was in the military for 6 years. He signed up for a 6-year contract. And at first, it was like, him and I met in college. And when he went off to go join the military, the first thing was like, I was really actually opposed to being a military wife because I grew up with my dad being in the military. And I was like, I'm not going to raise kids like that. I don't want to put my kids through that, all these things, even though really like I had a beautiful, wonderful experience growing up that way. But like in my head, for some reason, I was like so resistant to that. But you can't help who you fall in love with. So my husband and I ended up getting married. He went and did his whole military thing. With that being said, he loved serving his country, but he was gone for like half of our daughter's like first years of her life. Like even when she was born, the day that she was born, he was deployed. He missed her first steps. He missed potty training. He missed all the hard things that I had to do by myself, potty training, taking away the binky, like just all these things. Like he was gone. He was gone more times than he was even home. And at the time, it was like, that's all that we really knew what to do. Him and I both, we just like, whenever he joined the military, it was like, I don't know, like we just thought it was going to be different. And we didn't realize that was the life that we were signing up for. So with that being said, we started thinking during his term that we're like, we need to figure something out. Like we need to find a way. And it wasn't even just about making money for us. It was more so about like finding the freedom of our time and being able to like find a way that we can actually be together all the time versus only on the nights and the weekends or the months that he was allowed to be home, right? Like we literally lived a life opposite of freedom. He was told where he had to live, how he had to look, what clothes he had to wear, how many tattoos he could have and where they could show on his body. Like everything was decided for him. And we were like so not in alignment with that. We're like, we want more freedom of choice, freedom of time, freedom of, and then of course, money is an aspect of that too, because when he was in the military, we were on government assistance. We were, trying so hard to eat healthy and raise our family with, good organic food. But, a lot of times, like the assistance that we were getting, we weren't allowed to buy that type of stuff with what they were giving us. And so we were like scraping by, and it was like, gosh, we just wanted to get out of survival mode and get into a state of being able to like thrive. But it didn't necessarily start there. More so started with just wanting to be together as a family and really just like, yeah, being a strong family unit that got to spend more time together. And then it evolved into like, well, it's actually more than that. What we really want is to be a strong family unit that gets to stay together, but also while having an abundant amount of income to be able to go out and do whatever it is that we want to do, buy the organic food that we want to buy, have the holistic treatments that we want to have, or any of the things that come along with that. So we went from complete opposite life of freedom to now like living a life that we feel freer than we've ever felt before. And, of course, there's been lots of trials and errors and failures, which all are just lessons along the way. But yeah, so that's kind of like the beginning of our journey. I don't know if you want me to go further into it than that, but of course it's
That
like a long story. So
that to me was so amazing. Like I even wrote it in the chat on Instagram. Have you ever felt like you were living a life that just wasn't free? Like you didn't feel free in it? Because here you are sharing this journey with you and your husband, relying on government assistance, relying on the military for the paycheck. Them telling him where he has to go, where he has to be. And I've had family members who was in the military too, and it can be very rewarding in the sense that you're serving your country and you're helping others. But here you were feeling constricted in this area, and then knowing like, you know what, this is not how we want to live our life moving forward. It made me think about those who are working in corporate, where they may not be under that strict like the military is, but they still don't feel free in their finances. So talk us through what decisions you made so that you can create this financial freedom for your family.
So, we started realizing again, because it started with wanting more freedom of time. We're like, okay, well, how do we get more freedom of time? We're like, well, we need to have our own business. We need to be business owners because that's the only time that you can actually control, your time, right? But of course, like we had a lot of learning to do. I didn't really come from a family that ever taught anything like that. So I'm kind of like the first entrepreneur in my family. And, so anyways, we started like just jumping into a few different business models, and we're like, okay, like we're just like brainstorming. And because it wasn't always necessarily about making an abundant amount of income at first, it was more just like, let's find a way to make income in general by like with freedom. So we started going into some more like low ticket type of stuff. We started an Etsy business, an Etsy shop, which actually was really cool. We had this little laser engraver that we would like make these really cool wood products with. And we were really into like Montessori and Waldorf. And for any of the moms that are listening out there, it's like, that's like a really cool thing that we were into when our kids were young, and they had like wooden toys and they were really cool. So we're like, oh, we'll make that. And it's really fun. It was really fun. And we had a lot of time and we got to do it together. But we worked so hard. And for the money that we earned, we're like, this is not sustainable. Like, this is not sustainable. And our business was like running us. Like, we literally were like, every time we got a sale, we'd hear like, yeah, it was like, we'd hear the cha-ching come in and we're like, yeah, we got a sale. But then it was like, we realized that there was like hours of work that had to go into that just to make this order come to life. And then we had customer service and we had all these things. And we're like, oh no, like we can't do this. So then we started another business where it was like a sticks and bricks business. I'm really into like natural proactive health. And so we did a thermography business where it was like a low cost to get started with this business. And we were like, okay, well, it's going to, we were kind of looking for these like lower cost things. We didn't have a lot of income to invest. And so we're like, how can we like start a business for like cheap? Right. And so we had to have a mindset shift on how like actually investing is like a part of this, right? It's like this mindset. You can actually have a rich mindset without actually being rich, right? Yeah. And that's again, like something that I was not really like. My husband grew up, he read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm sure you so he actually had this mindset this whole time. And he was the one that was like, yeah, we need to like start these businesses and do these things. And I was the one that was like, I don't know, this is scary. This is like, oh, I don't know. So resistant. And like, that's why everything we were doing was like these low ticket things. And anyways, this other business we started, same thing. It sucked our time out. we did well, like we did well enough where we could hire some technicians and we had some people, running the business for us, but like we had so much overhead. There was just so much. So we started realizing that like all the things that we were doing were just not cutting it. And then we went into low ticket network marketing and we were like, network marketing, that's going to be our ticket to freedom. Like it's leveraged. We can like actually build a team. And it's almost like this whole real estate thing where you have real estate agents and brokers and we can be like the broker. And if we have a bunch of agents under us that are working too, look, we'll make money off them and it will be great and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Low ticket network marketing was not going to be the key to our success either, because it was like always like we were busting our butts for like very, very low dollar amounts. And it was like, it's just, if I wanted to make $10,000 a month, which is like a micro goal in the business we have now, I'm having to sell hundreds of products a month and it was just not sustainable. So so we made the shift over when we started looking into seeing people talk about high ticket. And in my mind, because I didn't have this mindset, like I was already thinking like high ticket, like who's going to invest in these high ticket products when I can barely get people to invest in my low ticket products? I have to work so hard for my low ticket products. And it was like, no, like all it had to, for me, it was like the mindset. I had to shift the mindset, but I also kind of had to look at other people that were already having success and realizing that if they could do it, I could do it.
So good. Girl, you said so much. Like I had to put, excuse me, I misspelled your name, typo, but I had to put what you said on the screen. You can have a rich mindset without being rich. Oh, that it was so good. Let's talk about this low ticket for a minute. I feel like a lot of times when business owners are starting out, they immediately go, I'm going to sell low ticket, because the mindset is the lower the price, the more people I can bring in. But then you find yourself working really hard and you're bringing in the people, but you're not hitting your financial goals. And I even went through something similar. When I first started, I was teaching people how to shoot and edit videos. And I would do a 2-hour masterclass, sometimes 3 hours if you upgraded to VIP, for just $27. And I remember I did that for 6 weeks. And by the end of the 6 weeks, I was exhausted and I probably made like $500 or less. And I thought to myself, there's no way I can do this. And so I remember turning the class into a pre-recorded class, and I raised the price to $497 and I sold it. 2 people bought. I made $1,000 in 3 days. And that's when I realized, whoa, I need to move from low ticket to high ticket, because you don't need more bodies. You just need quality people so you can actually sell less and make more money. And so now you're starting to see this shift. Well, not now, but back then you were able to see this shift. Like it didn't matter how hard you worked. You weren't going to hit these goals because the price point was so hard, but you recognize it wasn't the price point. It was the mindset that was making you believe that, I don't know, were you hearing thoughts that was like, you're not worthy of being paid that much? Or I think you talked about you didn't think it was possible that people will pay you that much because they were barely paying for the low price. So how were you able to overcome that? Like what are the steps you took to transform your mind so that you can actually become top 1% in your company?
Well, I would say that, one of the first things is there are opportunities all around us. Every day, we're like, especially in today's world, in the digital world, where we're just surrounded by so many opportunities. And again, it's like what we said earlier, you don't have to be rich to have a rich mindset. And it's like, if you can just look at opportunities from the perspective of it being an opportunity instead of every single thing, thinking that it's going to be like some scam, that someone's out to get you. It's like, there's so many opportunities around us. So we were introduced to this high ticket opportunity. And I was so, kind of engulfed in this low ticket thing that I had been doing for 5.5 years. And I just kept thinking, if I worked harder, if I just did this, I'd get to the next level, I'd make more money and this and that. And it was like this little carrot that we always talk about, this dangling carrot that was in front of me. And it actually, I was so skeptical of this high ticket thing because my mindset wasn't correct. So I had to shift that a little bit, but also I had to start putting myself around other people that had a different mindset than me, that were actually looking at things from a perspective of opportunity versus just like, oh, there's no way that actually works. Because my mind kept telling me that doesn't happen to people like me.
Yeah.
That type of success only happens to people like them. I'm a little, I live off grid. I'm a homesteader. I run around barefoot all the time. My hair is barely brushed, like all that type of stuff, right? I had all these thoughts in my head. I'm like, that doesn't happen to people like me. That happens to people like her, who's done up and, successful and all those types of things, right? So I had to start putting myself around other people. And I started looking around the internet and seeing that, like, no, there's plenty of barefoot moms that are breastfeeding their baby out in public and doing certain things that are like, she's having success. If she can do it, I can do it. So I had to start seeing that other people and like kind of leaning on the success stories that other people were having and realizing if I could just shift my mindset, that I could also have the success that I wanted. But I do believe that the self-worth is a huge part of this, because kind of what you brought up, it's like this mindset, but like sometimes it's not necessarily in the form of like the thought comes up of like, I'm not worthy of this. But that is what's kind of like the driving force behind some of these other thoughts that we have that do pop into our brain about like, oh, I can never do that. That is like me. Like all of that at the end of the day really just comes back to believing that you are actually worthy of the success that you are worthy of. Like, I mean, abundance is our birthright. Like we are not put on this earth to just survive. Like we are put here to thrive, but so many of us were just programmed from day one that it's like, you need to sit down, you need to stay small, you need to be quiet, you need to stay in your own lane, and it's like, no, like we get to create whatever it is that we want to create, but we just have to do some work in our mindset. So for sure, for me, it was definitely mindset, and it was being aware. Like awareness is the first step, right? Like we know, we know we have to become aware of the thoughts that are stopping us, because we're the only people that will ever stand in our way. The only person that will ever stand in your way, if you're listening to this right now, is you. You are the only person. But the good news about that is you're also the only person that could ever make your dreams come true. So goes both ways. Yes, you can get in your own way, but yes, you can get out of your own way too. And it starts with just shifting your mindset. It starts with being aware that your mindset is not great to begin with. And then it starts with, being able to, be open to doing the work that comes with, what the results come with doing the work. So yeah, for me, it's shift in mindset and putting myself around other people that were not only just having the success, but also people that weren't necessarily having the success yet, but they knew that they were going to. And so they had this mindset of, I might not be there yet, but I know I'm on my way. So I'm going to go ahead and act like I'm there now, because that's how you get to where you want to be. You got to like own it before you have it.
You got to step into, you got to be that person right now before you actually get to it. I really love that you brought up like the voice that you were hearing, or at least a thought that was happening, which was like, those things don't happen for me, it happened for others. I had those same thoughts, have those same thoughts. And there's a lot of work that goes into one, really addressing where these thoughts are coming from, right? And then being able to transform, because you don't want to sit in it, because then it makes you feel like, man, I'm never going to be able to get to where I want to be. But you want to put some tools in place so that you are actually transforming the thought to something that's empowering as opposed to disempowering. And one thing you said that you did was you actually had to see other people who are thriving in this area, so that now you're filling your space with others who have done it, so you can see that this is possible. So let me ask you this question. How did you stay the course, right? As you were building this success, you didn't see it yet. How did you stay the course of being the person and owning it now, even though you didn't see it yet?
Faith. A lot of it is that. A lot of it is having, and it's like backing yourself and really truly like understanding that, again, it comes back to just being aware that like, that we have to know that we are the creators of our life. There's no, like, this is what I tell people that work with me all the time. And it's like, people come to me and they want my mentorship, and I'm willing to give anyone who comes to work with me my mentorship. That's what I do. Actually, I mentor them to go out and have the same success that I've had. But I tell every single person that comes in, I'm like, your results or the lack thereof, it's all going to come back down to your responsibility. And oftentimes it's not even necessarily a strategy that needs to happen. Yes, I can teach you how to make fun reels on Instagram and make carousels, and how your stories will help you have success, and like all this stuff, which is like strategy on growing an Instagram. I can teach you how to run ads. I can teach you how to do some of this strategy stuff. But at the end of the day, if you're not willing to do the work, and it's the mindset, it's letting go of the ego, it's letting go of the fear. And, when we have a lot of these things that come up for us, oftentimes it's not even like, it's about us. We have to learn how to make it about other people. When we are in the business of sales, because we are all in the business of sales, and we're either being sold to or we're selling, like either way, but like sales is happening all around us, and sales is not a bad thing, you guys. Sales is a great thing. Sales equals service. When we can come from a place of service all of the time, then there is no way that we can't succeed. Like we will always succeed as long as we're coming from a place of service. Oftentimes people get tripped up about sales, and they think they have this like fear about what people are going to say. What if they say no? What if they think I'm just like a icky salesperson? What if they have this? And it's like, when we start putting that out there, we're making it about them, or we're making it about us instead of about them, right? It's not coming from a place of service. We are making it about us because we are scared of the judgment. We are feared of what other people are going to think of us. When we actually make it about them and what is going to be best for them, then it becomes easy. It becomes like a no-brainer for every single person to be able to get into sales, because all that we ever want to do is serve, right? Like all we ever want to do is serve. So I feel like a part of it, or a big part of it, is just like, yeah, it's having that faith, having that belief that everything is going to work out, and just knowing deep down that, again, what I already kind of said, so I don't want to be repetitive, but it's that knowing that if I want to change my life, I'm the only person that can do that, and not, trying to put it on something else or somebody else. It's like, it's on me. And that's why it doesn't matter how many times you go out there, no matter how many things you try, if that didn't work, guess what? It was never a failure. It was just a learning experience. And then you move on to the next thing. So I think for me, it was just, yeah, knowing that, like, that I had me in my corner, and that's all that I actually needed was me in my corner. And I knew that if I didn't ever give of myself, then there was never an option for me not to succeed.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love just even the way you answered it. You were just like, it takes faith. Like, you got to believe in yourself. And I think oftentimes that people can believe in their coach, people who are of faith, they can believe in God, but they don't have faith in themselves, like believing in themselves. I remember when I was trying to break into the television industry, I was working at a staffing agency, and my supervisor at the time, so amazing, she said something to me that to this day, her advice still resonates with me, and I still use it. And she said, you have to bet on yourself, because if you don't bet on yourself, no one else will, right? And sometimes people are just waiting around for someone to say, you get to go. But the reality is, you need to step up and say, I'm going to go because I have something that's going to be a blessing to others. And I like that you talked about the transformation of sales, right? And I say that because, as you said, there are a lot of people who are afraid. They fear being salesy. They're afraid that they're going to be embarrassed. They're afraid that people are going to say no and they're going to get rejected. And the reality is, you are going to get rejected, right? But it's no reflection on your character. Sales is a skill that needs to be built. And I think oftentimes we think just because we start a business, we should already know how to sell. No, take the time to actually learn, become confident in it. Take the time to actually understand what it is. But the number one thing that you said was that sales is service. And when you really embrace the fact that I started my business to help others, to make an impact, to really to be able to serve, the next step is for them to invest in the services that you are offering them. So I really love that you were able to take that fear away from selling. So let me ask you this, right? Being able to mentor your people, being able to really help them to scale their business or even grow their business from the ground up. What are 3 key points that you share with them in order for them to be able to be successful?
I mean, I really think that like we talked about earlier, awareness being key, is I really help them take that one step further, because awareness is definitely like step one. We need to be aware that we are the only ones holding us back. But once we become aware, like, then what, right? It's like, okay. And so a few months back, I was actually invited to speak on the stage for the biggest event that my community has ever put on. And I had very little time to prepare because I had hit a level in my business like literally days prior that no one even saw coming. So it's not like I was like on the lineup to speak at this event or anything. And I was asked like a couple days before it happened, which was really fun and exciting, by the way. But as I started my talk, the first thing that I did, I asked the entire audience, I said, how many of us in this room are self-sabotagers? And this is a room full of really successful entrepreneurs already. So like they were all aware, and I started seeing hundreds and hundreds of hands go up. Like, just I'm scanning the room, and it was a really big room. So I'm like looking all the way back, and I'm just seeing everyone, like almost every single person's putting their hand up, right? And I'm like, okay, it's one thing to be aware of this, but what are you actually doing about it? Because the only difference between me, who was standing up there on the stage speaking, and them, who was sitting down there in the audience, was that I took action to stop self-sabotaging behaviors that I knew were holding me back, right? I took it from the awareness to the action that needed to happen, because action is the ultimate belief shifter, right? Like, we have to start with small, manageable steps, right? That we can do to prove to ourselves that we can achieve what we set out to achieve no matter what. And each step that we take is going to build confidence, which is going to reinforce new, empowering beliefs in our, like just that we can do anything, right? And then when we have that, then that leads to more action, and action is really what is going to drive our business forward. Like, no matter what, if you're not doing anything and you're just sitting there and you're thinking and you're procrastinating, you're not taking action. And if you don't take action, you're not actually going to get where you're going. So I took it from awareness to action. And before the action had to happen, there's a whole bunch of things that happen in the middle, right? And so there's like awareness of the self-sabotage behavior.
Mhm.
And I think that's like one of the things that I help a lot of people that work with me. It's like, let's try to dive into like, what is the thing that's holding you back? And most often, like we've already discussed it a little bit on this call, it's like,
Mhm.
it's the self-worth is what it
Yeah.
always boils down to.
Mhm.
And no matter what level you reach in your business, we have this new thing. We say new level, new devil.
Yeah. Mhm.
And it's like, no matter what, even at this point that I'm at in my business, there's another block that I have to come up across, because it's like, oh my gosh, I've gotten to this point, which is incredible. And I'm so proud of where I'm at now. But it's like, to get to the next level, guess what? There's more things that I'm going to have to work on, right? It's like, it is
Mhm.
not like you do the work one time and then you're done. It's like, no, it's a constant thing, right? So I help people understand all of what the self-sabotaging behaviors are, the procrastination, the overthinking, the perfectionism, which is a big one for a lot of people,
Mhm.
negative self-talk, the people pleasing, and how so many
Mhm.
people prioritize other people's needs over their own. And it's like,
Come on.
yeah, it's like we need to. But for me, the biggest thing was the ultra independence.
Mm.
Huge thing. Like ultra independence is like, it's a trauma response. And it's the inability to ask for help or receive
Mhm.
help from other
Mhm.
people. Like, people want to help you and they want to, but it's like, oh, I got this. Like, I don't need this. Like, I'll do it myself type of attitude. And even though I don't have the attitude where I put that off, like, I'll do it by
Mhm.
myself, like in a
Mhm.
weird snooty way or something like that. It's more of just like internally where I'm like, I don't want to have to ask other people for help.
Yeah.
And this is
Yeah.
a form of self sabotage. Like, it's
Mhm.
really, and it's the one that I was struggling with the most. And so when I start helping other people see what kind of self-sabotaging behaviors they have, I can help them learn how to get from the awareness to
Mhm.
actually overcoming it and then taking action. And that's how I help people see results when they work with me, because they have to understand, what am I doing that's not letting me move forward? How can I stop doing those things and then
Mhm.
start doing the things that will? And yeah, I think if everyone could just understand that, then everybody in the world would have success.
That's so powerful, because what you're sharing here, it's not just a skill set, right? Because oftentimes, as you said before, you can teach them how to create the posts and how to make the videos engaging and how to post the stories, right? And you can do all those things and still not see success, because if your mind isn't right, if you're not in a space where you stop self-sabotaging, then it doesn't matter, because you're not going to see the results that you want to see. So I love that you're talking about this awareness piece, because some people don't recognize that it's self-sabotage. They
Mm-hmm.
have associated with, this is my personality, this is just who I am. But the reality is, no, there's some type of fear, there's some type of trauma there. And a lot of us, when we started our business, and I know this happened for me, this probably happened for you too, Louise. When I started my business, my childhood trauma started popping up. I really don't know why. When I worked my 9 to 5, it didn't pop up. But as soon as I started I'm so serious. I'm like, what happened? But as soon as I started my business, rejection started popping up. Daddy issues started popping up, right? Like, all of these things were popping up that I had to address in order for me to be where I am now, and in order for me to go to the next level. And here's what I've recognized with going to the next level: that some of these issues that we deal with on one level, the next level is just us dealing with it on a deeper level.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we'll go to level 2, that same issue you dealt with on level 1, you're just going deeper with it. Okay, where is this thing coming from? How am I recognizing when I'm being triggered throughout the day for this emotion to pop up, or for this personality pop up? And then what can I do in order to manage it, address it? I'm a Christian. I think I shared that with you before. And we have
Mm-hmm.
something where, like, where we have spiritual warfare, right? There's spiritual warfare that happens. And oftentimes as Christians, we think, if I'm having a negative thought, or if I'm having these negative emotions, that I'm being attacked by the enemy. And that may be true, right? But oftentimes, what I have found, especially this year, is that those thoughts are really coming from a place of trauma. And if you're constantly in a space of resistance, trying to fight it, as opposed to being aware, as opposed to accepting it, as opposed to actually taking action steps so that you can manage it, navigate it, or whatnot, then you're never going to actually address what's bothering you. You're going to keep putting it off, saying like, oh, this is warfare and being attacked, when in all actuality, you are feeling these emotions because you're being triggered throughout the day. So I love that you're able to help your clients in this way. You're able to actually show them, like, this is what self-sabotage is. This is how it starts to show up, so that now, as they're building their business, they can be very much aware and then have the tools in order to overcome it. So I think that this is a powerful conversation. I love everything that you were sharing. And so I want to know from you, for those who are listening and feeling inspired, and they want to be able to work with you, how can they work with you?
Okay, so if what I do is I do high ticket direct sales, and so if you're interested in learning how to, yeah, earn an income online, and doing basically all the things that we just talked about, doing all the work, it's like the fun thing is like we're not just into sales. It's like this entrepreneurship is like the ultimate up level of every single area in your life, like all the personal work, all the inner development, all the overcoming traumas, like all that stuff. But anyways, yeah. So if you go to my Instagram, which is Louise.Millman, I have a link there that's just in my bio, and it says the 3 strategies, and there's a video. It's 25 minutes long. I go over the 3 key strategies that I have used to grow an extremely abundant income in the online space. Pretty much almost to 7 figures. I'm like so close to the 7 figure mark. But multi 6 figures. Not only have I used these 3 strategies to help, to grow the business myself, I've also used it to help hundreds of other women have success in their business, also growing their business to 6 figures and beyond. So all you need to do is click that link in my bio. And I know that I sent it to you, Star, too. So I know it's probably linked somewhere else too. But if you click that 3 strategies video and watch, it's a 25-minute video. From there, if you're still interested after watching that video, then you will go through a process, and it's called the discovery process. There'll be a series of little videos that will walk you through what exactly it is that I do and how you could do it too. One of the things is that for me, it's not just about creating financial freedom. It's also about the time freedom. So a lot of our systems that we have are automated, and we've created automated systems, or I've created automated systems, so that it's not just about me pulling in as much income as I can, but it's also like my values are about spending time with my family and being able to like really live life on my terms. And I help other people do that too. And a part of that is also it's having these systems in place. So if you watch the video, you can watch it from a perspective of if you join this, you also can plug into these same exact automated systems, which literally have your business running on autopilot, whether it's ads or organic marketing. It's really fun to be able to know that, people can literally be watching your stuff all the time while you're, out playing with your kids in the yard or homesteading or gardening or doing all the things that you love to do. So yeah, it's a 25-minute video. If you watch that video, you'll know in those 25 minutes whether or not you're, want to take it any further. And then if you do, there's a series of a couple other videos. I think it's like an hour total of video watch time. But by the time you're done with that, we hop on a call and then we just discuss the best way for you to move forward, or, you get to address any questions that you might have. And that's it. That's how you work with me if you'd like to.
I love that. And I just went ahead and I put the link inside the chat. So any of you can actually click the link. It's also shared on the screen so that you can see it. And then the link will also be shared in the caption afterwards so that you can get access to it. And then you also had a special gift that you wanted to share, Discover Wealth Beyond Money. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I have a little ebook there that if anybody wants to sign up for the ebook, it's just talks a little bit, again, kind of what I just said. It's to me, it's like it's so much more than just having a lot of money. Like money is a part of it for sure. But we talk about like just the wealth transfer and how we're taking, money and we're making this money. Like it's not just about that, but it's like how much time do we have? How happy are we in our life? Because I don't care how much money we have. If we are not happy and excited and lit up about life every single day, like what's the point, right? It's like we want to enjoy our life. We want to be able to have time to spend, again, like I talked about earlier, is, for me, it all started with that. It was more about the time that I wanted to spend with my husband, with my family. Like now my husband hasn't had to work in years, from our first daughter when she was born. He was deployed the day that she was born. We FaceTimed him from the hospital. And from our daughter now, who's a year, she just turned a year like 2 weeks ago. It was amazing. He caught her in our living room. He's never had to leave her side, not a single day. And it's been like so different raising, our kids. Like we're together all the time, and I'm just so grateful. So it's not even just always about like, creating all the money. It's also about creating time. It's also about creating happiness and, really like feeling like you have a purpose and really wanting to impact other people. And like, we just go really deep into what would it be like if you could literally create life on your terms, doing anything that you want to do. And that's where we talk about wealth beyond money. So there's an ebook. You can flip through the ebook if you want to. It talks a little bit about the business model. And then, so I know that's linked somewhere in here too.
Yep. All you have to do is click the link that's inside the chat, or you can copy and paste it if you're on Instagram. Louise, I just have to say this. You just have such a joy in your spirit. Like I can tell, like everything that you have gone through, this messaging, like the same messaging was just radiating throughout this entire episode, which was creating the life that you want, having freedom, time freedom, financial freedom, health freedom. And I just really love that you were able to create that for yourself. And then as you were doing that, you're able to help other people to create that for themselves as well, which will give them that peace and that joy. Oftentimes, there are people, not just talking about business owners, people are stressed about how are they going to pay their bills? Where is money going to come from? You know, there are arguments because of money. Some people have a lack of health because of a lack of money. And then there are a lot of people who are trading their time for money because they think money is more important than time. But here you are, just created this space of peace, this space of joy, and you're just exuberating this freedom. And I just absolutely love it. Like just the way that you talked about your offers, it's just you're doing a great work. I say all that to say you're doing a great work showing others how to create this freedom in their life. And you are literally the person that people are looking at right now and going, that could happen for me too. Like that's what you needed when you started, and now you're that person for others. And I just think that that is totally a blessing. So any final words before we wrap up?
Thank you. No, I mean, I think you did a pretty good job of wrapping it up. I feel like, yeah, it's like it's the full circle for sure. It's like I just love to be able to inspire other people because yeah, I was inspired by other people. But I mean, I guess one last thing I would like to say is just like when it comes to money, it's like, we are all here. Like you said, you're doing good work. And it's like, anyone out there that wants to do good work, it's like, we do need to be resourced in order for us to come to be able to do the good work that we want to do. So anyone that's sitting there that might be watching this, regardless if you come work with me or if you work with Star, if you work with, like, it doesn't really matter. It's like, find what works for you, but find something that will help you so that you can become resourced, so that you can go out and do the good work that you came here to do. Because really truly, like, that fulfillment is probably better than any of the part. Like the financial success is great, the time freedom is amazing, the inner freedom, the health freedom, but it's like when you really feel like you're living out your purpose every single day, like you wake up happy and excited about every single day of your life. Like that's what I want for every single person. Like I want people to just wake up and feel lit up and excited about their life, and that's what happens when you feel like you are living out your purpose. So yeah, just wanted to kind of, I guess, throw in that last thing is like the being resourced is like, it's such a big part of that, because I know so many people who want to go out there and do amazing things in the world, but aren't able to because they don't have the resources to do it. So if you're somebody who wants to create, that you're here for more, you're here for big reasons, and you want to make a huge impact in the world. It's like, go out there and stop letting the fear get in your way. Surround yourself by those who inspire you to do more, because I always tell people this, and like, you show me your inner circle and I can show you your future. Find yourself a group of people that inspire you to go out and become the person that you want to be, because every single person can have success. You just have to realize that you're the only one that can do it for yourself. So thank you so much, Star. This was really fun. I loved hanging out with you today. Thank you for hosting me. And yeah, it's been amazing.
Absolutely. You have been such a blessing to us. I mean, the Instagram chat has been going off. People feel so blessed. We have some of your mentees who are in the chat as well, who've just been loving everything that you have been sharing. So we just want to thank you. And thank you to everyone who has been listening. This is another episode of Wisdom to Wealth. We do have another episode tomorrow where we're interviewing another business owner as they're sharing their journey from zero to wealth. So Louise dropped a lot of gems today. Make sure that you take down the notes that you needed to, take action. If there was anything that you needed to walk away with, don't let fear hinder you from being successful. You all have a wonderful day.